All right, we'll call this meeting to order at 5:31. Council member attendance, please.
Councilmember Pasqua. Councilmember Capaldi.
Here.
Councilmember Hul.
Present.
Councilmember Ionati.
Here.
Councilmember Mars.
Here.
Vice President Brown.
Here.
President Verducci.
Here. Well, let's please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Gotta know that outside. All right, our emergency evacuation plan is to go back out the way you came in. If that's blocked, please use the exits to the side and follow that to the doors marked exit and back. First item up tonight is executive or closed session. We'll be voting tonight to go into executive session. I will take a motion in a sec, but I'm just going to go over the three reasons for the executive session. Item A is closed session pursuant to Rhode Island General Law 4246 5A12, job performance and employment contract for town manager Dan Perillo. Item B is executive or closed session pursuant to the same law for litigation matters. This is discussion of prospective litigation initiated against and by the town. And item C, executive or closed session for litigation matters. Nicholas Cambio, trustee, Commerce Park Realty, Matthew McGowan as receiver, and others, Commerce Park Management LLC. I will.
We'll make that motion.
Second.
Motion in a second. Any discussion? All right, seeing none. Madam Clerk, we do need a roll call.
Councilmember Capaldi.
Yes.
Councilmember Hul.
Yes.
Councilmember Ionati.
Yes.
Councilmember Mars.
Yes.
Vice President Brown.
Yes.
President Verducci.
Yes,
6 in the affirmative, 7. Oh my God, excuse me.
it's all right.
0
We
in the
get it.
negative. Motion passes.
Thank you. All right, we'll entertain a motion to come out of executive session.
I'll make a motion to come out of executive session.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? I think we need a roll call on the exec sessions.
Councilman Pasqua,
Yes.
Councilman Capaldi,
Yes.
Councilman Hul,
Yes.
Councilmember Ionati,
Yes.
Councilmember Mars,
Yes.
Vice President Brown,
Yes.
President Verducci.
Yes.
70 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, motion passes.
Right, I will entertain a motion to seal the minutes of executive session.
So moved.
First and second, any discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk.
Councilmember Pasqua,
Yes.
Councilmember Capaldi.
Yes.
Councilmember Hul,
Yes.
Councilmember Ionati, Councilmember Mars,
Yes.
Vice President Brown,
Yes.
President Verducci.
Yes.
70 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, motion passes.
Council met in executive session. One vote was taken, and that was to ratify the contract of our town manager, Dan Perillo. The votes were unanimous. Congratulations, Dan. Now we're going to make him work for it. So, item 2. Up next, public comment on docketed items. Anyone in the audience here would like to come up? Please state your name and address for the record. And if not, Mr. Cody, anything online? All right, not seeing any hands. We are cruising now. Item number 3. Town council appointments. First up, we have the Coventry Redevelopment Agency. We have 4 applicants tonight. If any of you are here and would like to come up and make a few statements, please raise your hand and come on up. Yeah, sure. Is Joseph Gwynedd in the building? All right. How about Corey Levesque?
So, Mr. President, Corey couldn't make it tonight. He had
Okay.
a personal conflict.
All right. Howard Delude? And very timely for this time of year, Ryan O'Brien. Yes. All right. All right. From the Italian section of Coventry. All right.
I'm more Italian than anything, but yeah, absolutely.
All right. Name and address for the record, please, and then go ahead.
My name's Ryan O'Brien, 6 Peninsula Court, Coventry, Rhode Island. I'm really just here to put my hat in the ring to volunteer for the RDA. I've been a resident of Coventry since 2016, lifelong Rhode Island resident. Been really following the entire process since 2020 and have a really good understanding of what's needed from the town, the type of deadline we're up against at this point in time to give meaningful public access to everybody. I've used the pond for the last 11 years as a resident and many years prior. And I think I can just give some really good input, feedback, and just help the community. I have children that, are 3 years old and 16 years old. And I want them to enjoy the pond just like I have, and really just here to kind of help steward, the best that I possibly can. I really appreciate you guys, at least considering it. And if you have any questions, please ask.
No, thank you very much. As we say to all our volunteers, so we do appreciate the effort. We definitely need all the help we can get. I will open it up. Who had it first? Madam Capaldi.
Hello. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being the only applicant here. And as many people know, oh no, I am so sorry. You're Nathan. Oh,
I'll let you go.
thank you. All right. Both you guys, thank you very much for being here, because if anyone knows, I am very adamant that people that want to be appointed come and talk to us before you get appointed. So thank you for being here. So the RDA is more than just Johnson's Pond.
I do.
Okay, so that's one thing I want to make sure. Have you any thoughts on what else the RDA could work on? Any other areas that you see could be developed Have you thought about that? I mean, if you haven't, that's fine, but
In its current iteration, no. I know, we have a real big time crunch, to get this done right now. But I am open to learning more about what the town needs to, really focus on, any type of development that I can, at least give some good input for.
what do you do for your day job?
I work in sales. I
Okay.
work in sales. But my family owns a local company that has really kind of done a lot of donations in time throughout the state, throughout the community. Soggy Hot Dogs. I don't know if you've ever heard of them.
Unfortunately, I don't eat hot dogs, but I know the brand. I think that's what I'm going to ask. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Councilman Hool?
Good evening, sir. How are you?
How are you?
Good, thank you. I have a couple of questions. One of them is going to be a little blunt, and I apologize for that. Not this one. Are you related to anybody on the RDA?
No.
And you probably are well aware that I am not a fan of the current solicitor who handles the RDA. And I wouldn't like to know your position on that. And you can give me as politically correct as possible. I don't want to get anyone in trouble here. It's insights for myself.
Right. Mr. Angel.
Yeah, you said it, not me.
He was instrumental, in my opinion, on getting us to where we are today, regardless of any personal things with the. Correct. Regardless of any other personal matters, whether those are in this town or another town, that's not up for me to make any judgment on. Hopefully that answers your question.
All right, back to Councilwoman Capaldi.
To follow up on that, I want to know your opinion of how he's handling the legal situations on the RDA.
You couldn't know. Yeah, I mean.
So, I've watched every RDA meeting I possibly can, so I don't know the ins and outs, and I haven't had conversations with him personally. I can't give you an honest answer there at this point.
Thank you.
No problem. And what else?
Understood. Favorite TV show and why? No, I'm just kidding.
MacGyver.
Whoa,
MacGyver.
wow, old school. Something else? Councilwoman Ionati?
Hi,
Make sure you get in that microphone.
to bring it down, I'm short.
Yeah, get it in.
So I'd like to know, how do you think redevelopment around Johnson's Pond should balance between public access, environmental protection, and the concerns of all the residents nearby and local?
Can you repeat the first half of the question?
Sure. How do you think the redevelopment around Johnson's Pond should balance public access, environmental protection,
Mhm.
the concerns of the residents on the pond, and the residents off the pond?
I'm going to start with environmental protection because we need to make sure the pond is there for generations to come. So we really need to make sure we focus on keeping the pond clean, doing this in the right manner, as taking the proper precautions, the proper steps that we need to. As far as public access, we need to do it. We don't have an option, right? We need to make this happen, and we need to do it right. Because if we don't do it right, it's not fair to everyone else. So there's plenty of residents on the pond. There's plenty of residents off the pond. And I think they all deserve access to a beautiful piece of, just a beautiful piece of land that I think everyone can enjoy in the future. I really, really do.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Anyone else? Thank you very much, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
And thank you. And Nathan, please come on up, name and address for the record.
Nathan Chatterley, 4 Linden Lane, Coventry.
So tell us a little bit about yourself, why you're interested in the position, and then, we'll see what happens after that.
Sure. So I'm a lifelong Coventry resident. My family's been here since there was 2 houses on Sisson Road. I live in Wood Estates now, so I hear a lot about the pond issues. I own a real estate brokerage before you get to that question. I also am half owner on a spec house building company. We're building a house over off of Maple Valley right now. So I know a little bit about kind of how some development interacts with towns and how things change after development, because I get all the calls afterwards when I sell a house to somebody and they say, hey, this went in. How come you didn't tell me about it? Honestly, the reason that I am even here today is because I've been following a little bit of it online and they were asking for volunteers for the RDA. So I threw my hat in because, again, I've been in Coventry for 40 years. My family's been here for close to 100. And I felt like it was time for one of us to maybe step in and give an opinion.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that sentiment, and thank you. I mean, that's exactly why we were getting the word out, so appreciate that. Let's see, Councilwoman Capaldi?
Was that a question? Thank you again for stepping up to the plate. I'm going to ask you the same questions. Where did you grow up again? That wasn't the same question.
So
but
originally, I grew up just down from Camp Westwood on Whaley Hollow Road. In my 20s, I moved to Black Rock Road. Now I'm in Wood Estates.
You're here.
Yeah, I've hit all the parts of the town.
Awesome. So what do you think about another project that RDA could help to redevelop?
So a project that they could help develop, I'd really, and I'll be very honest with you, haven't looked further enough into what the town actually has control of, because I don't want to get into a legal push of them overstepping. So before I looked into that, I would be really careful on saying, hey, they should stick their neck out for this.
We don't have to take everything by eminent domain. Right?
And you shouldn't.
Do you want to, okay, I'm going to give it over to Councilman Hool.
Councilman Hool.
Thank you, sir. How you doing? I'm going to ask you the same question.
Absolutely.
I'm going to keep it fair. As you know, I am not a fan of the solicitor who handles the RDA, and if I had it my way, he would have packed his bags on a float that was a little low on air a long time ago.
Sure.
So I will ask you, you have been following RDA and you have probably been following some of my concerns. And if not, you now are aware of them.
Sure.
Do you feel that Mr. Solicitor, not our solicitor, is doing a good job over there? Just kind of curious. And again, don't bury yourself publicly.
No,
Not asking.
No. My opinion on that is a little, and I don't want to say jaded, but it is probably aligning towards with what you're saying. And the reason being, I have it. The reason I cover it was more on the budget side of it. So I dug a little bit into the town budget and the amount of money that went towards that. And with that paired with redacted invoices, I, as a taxpayer in this town, have a serious problem with that. Yep.
Anyone else? Councilwoman Ionati.
And I'm going to ask you the same question.
Mhm.
How do you think redevelopment around Johnson's Pond should balance between public access, environmental protection, and the concerns of residents everywhere,
Absolutely.
all in town?
So this may be an unpopular opinion with some. However, I feel like the residents that live on the pond shouldn't dictate how the town access to the pond is. I grew up swimming at Zeke's Bridge and putting fishing boats over at Caldwell's Campground. We needed a public access to that pond on the big side of the pond my entire life. The fact that we haven't had one, and that was one of our biggest gripes growing up, I would say that that is probably the paramount issue that they would have with it, is getting that public access figured out.
And how do you feel you could help with that?
How do I feel like I could help with that? Well, for one, showing up, exactly, and being willing to sit here and listen to the opinions on the other members, because it's a 5-person member of the board. On the same token, giving my personal expertise with the real estate end of it, because that's what I do for a living.
So I'm going to ask you one quick question too. So going forward, knowing that you grew up in town, and you know how access, everything you just said, You also know how busy the pond gets on the weekends.
Hmm.
How do you feel we're going to control that?
Well, how you're going to control how many people are on the pond or policing the
Boats.
speed or like,
Boats, speed boats.
so, well, with any public access, and I don't know how often that you've launched a boat, but there's only so much parking for trailers when you launch a boat.
Right.
So that's going to control a lot of the access through how much, how much parking you have to put boats in.
Correct.
Um,
No, correct. Thank you.
mhm.
All right. All right. Anyone else? All right. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. And, I'll say this to anyone who comes up. Thank you very much.
Can I make a motion?
Go ahead.
I would like to make a motion to have Nathan Chatterley a part of the RDA.
I'll second that.
Oof. A motion and a second. Discussion. All right. That's it.
I know.
Under this circumstance, Mr. Solicitor, if someone wanted to make a motion, how does that work again? Can you?
The council can do it one of two ways. You could have entertained nominations for any and all nominations, and then people would vote according to the nominations. In this case, you could do that if there's no other nominations, or you could just take a vote on there's been a motion and a second. If it passes, it passes, and that's the end of the discussion.
I'll second.
All right. Pleasure to the council here. Voted or?
That's how we've done it in the past. We just vote on the candidate before us.
All right. I want to do a roll call then, please.
Councilman Pasqua,
Yes.
Councilman Capaldi,
Yes.
Councilman Hul,
Yes.
Councilmember Ionati,
Yes.
Councilmember Mars,
Yes.
Vice President Brown,
Yes.
President Verducci,
Yes.
7 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, motion passes.
Thank you very much.
Ryan, thank you for applying.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
I could apply for something else.
Just so you're aware, the meeting is tomorrow night
Yeah.
at the middle school.
Yeah. We will see you tomorrow night at the middle school. Pack a lunch. All right. Speaking of fun, we also have a vacancy on the Finance Committee. We wanted this on. Councilwoman Ionati has graciously offered to fill the seat. And just to keep it on everybody's calendar, we've got budget next week. So hoping to get a budget committee meeting in once we start, kind of diving into some of the topics. So yes, we will. Yes, we'll be here every day. So I think we just need a motion to appoint Councilwoman.
I will make a motion to appoint Councilwoman Maya Ionati to the Finance Committee.
I second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All right. Hearing none. Congratulations, Councilwoman. Welcome. Oh, come on. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right. Ayes have it. You're on.
Thank you.
All right. That's enough of us. Mr. Town Manager, you're up next.
Yes, so our contractor for the high school fire suppression system, Delta Mechanical, reached out to our OPM, Steve Nestorek, and asked if the town would be open to waiving the permit fees for the project. So the entire project is about 2.9 million. The permits that are issued by the town are approximately $20,000. This is very common in most school bond projects to waive those permits. So I'm just asking the council for that authority to waive the $20,000 in permits for Delta Mechanical, and we will get that money returned to us on the back end of the contract.
So a little bit of background on that too. Myself and Councilman Hul are on building committee. Essentially a lot of these projects are being funded with bond funds. The town takes a bit of a hit on this one, but it frees up a similar amount in bond funds. So, this was the original idea of this one. Did you have something, Councilman?
I just want to correct you. I don't believe in the building school committee meeting, this was brought up. I mentioned this because I don't actually think the town's taking a hit, right? So we would essentially, without us waiving these fees, they would add $20,000 to the bond, which then we would pay interest on. And instead of waiving those fees, we're just being our own bank. We're not actually losing anything. We're just not collecting 20,000.
Well,
If
the
we put
town-
this on the bond, we're paying the interest on it, correct?
So the bid included these permit fees. so
But they
that-
can adjust that. They mentioned that they would credit $20,000.
Correct. So the town would be receiving $20,000. Instead, the school's getting 20,000 more in project work.
So I guess if we were mad at the school, we could say like, hey, you get 20
Exactly.
grand. But, Mr. Pearson, you're probably watching, he were in that meeting. We're doing you a solid here just so we're not paying the interest on it.
Exactly.
It's a way, to me, it was like, okay, the school's going to borrow $20,000 from the town. We're going to go pay interest on it, tie up 20,000 on a school bond. We are one Coventry at the end of the day, no matter where that money comes from. It's all coming from this side of the desk.
Yeah. So
You're welcome, Mr.
essentially
Pearson.
This allows us to do 20,000 more in schoolwork versus
Which
a
we need.
revenue on the
We're
town's
close to
side.
the well. We're close to
Right.
we're really making some progress on the
Right.
committee.
Just flagging it because budget's coming up, and we want to make sure we are cognizant of that's a revenue we
I
want.
just didn't want to make it sound as we were giving 20,000 away. We're not.
Right.
We're not giving 20,000 away.
Mm, right.
We're essentially not paying interest on it. We're going to be the bank. Correct.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Exactly. And as I always say, it's one big bucket at the end of the day. So, Councilman Pasqua.
Yeah, that was my thought as soon as I saw this. We're the customer. The taxpayer is a customer, and this isn't an outside entity coming in and buying a permit. We're paying our self-interest, so it's a no-brainer to do this. So do we need to make a motion, or are we looking for an accompanying resolution for a later meeting, or? Okay, so I make a motion that we waive the permit fees for the school bond sprinkler project.
I second that. It gets a lot of yeah, that's true.
All right. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All right. Seeing none. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Nay. Ayes have it. Motion carries. Thank you very much, Mr. Town Manager. Let's see. All right. We have some gentlemen back there who are ready. Item number 5. We've got Chief Potvin. Come on.
They're just going to stand back there and mean mug. So,
Used to
get
it.
some more money. Good evening, everybody. Chief Potvin from the Hopkins Hill Fire District. I also have with me Chief Katie from the Central Coventry Fire District, Chief Shannon from the Coventry Fire District, and Chief Albro from the Western Coventry Fire District. President Verducci and members of the council, on behalf of the 4 fire districts, Central Coventry, Coventry, Hopkins Hill, and Western Coventry, I want to thank you for supporting the purchase of the new LifePak 35 cardiac monitor defibrillators that were purchased using the opioid settlement funds. For our firefighters, EMTs, and paramedics, these monitors are one of the most important tools we bring to a patient's side. Whether we're responding to an overdose, a heart attack, or another critical emergency, having modern, reliable cardiac monitoring and electrical therapy equipment directly improves patient outcomes when every second matters. This investment also allows us to replace equipment that was reaching the end of its serviceable life and ensures that all 4 Coventry Fire Districts are operating with the same advanced capability to care for its residents across the town, which I think is a first in a long, long time that all 4 districts were operating with the same equipment. On behalf of the firefighters, the EMTs, and the paramedics who serve this community every day, thank you for your continued support of public safety. And most importantly, when someone calls 911 in Coventry on their worst day of their life, your support helps make sure that the people responding have the tools they need to save it. And we did bring them. We did have one of them turn on so you could see what it looked like all lit up. But then it started to beep, so I didn't want to be disruptive to your meeting. So again, just on behalf of all the districts, we would like to thank you.
Thank you, Chief, and other chiefs. It's very nice. And thank you for that consideration. We have enough shocks around here.
And then
Those are different shocks.
Oh, that's a head turner for Greg. All right, go ahead. Who's next? Richard? Oh, sorry, Councilman Wool.
You can call. I've been called worse. Have you had a chance to use these yet?
So actually, we just finished training today.
Oh, fun. Okay.
So we've been training and we're waiting on one piece. There's a cellular card that operates the modem, which is actually purchased by Kent Hospital. So they've been ordered. We're just waiting for them to come in.
Not that I want you to have to use them,
Right.
but I just wanted to see if what the difference was from your
Yeah, so they have the
experience.
capability, our current monitors also have this, but it just newer technology. So they have a modem in there to transmit the EKG in the data to the hospital. And so we're just waiting on the SIM cards. Yes, yeah.
So they can make your calls or help you make some determinations on the road
Yeah,
in real
so
time.
we can actually activate the cath lab for certain types of heart attack, STEMI, which is a ST elevation myocardial infarction, which is a heart attack that's actually happening right now. When that happens, those patients need PCI or the cath lab. And so we transmit the EKG and the hospitals will open up the cath lab based on that EKG. So it'll come right to the doctor's phone or whoever in the hospital has that capability. And, you know, oftentimes in the middle of the night, the doctors will be walking in with our personnel to get the people right to the.
And that all happens in a very short amount of time, I'm assuming.
Yeah. So, you know, much like with a stroke, you know, time is brain and with your heart, time is muscle. So we're always trying to meet, you know, time metrics as set forth by the American Heart Association to make sure that, you know, we're providing the best care. But, you know, in the past, you would have to wait till you get to the hospital because they don't want to open the cath lab or activate the cath lab, you know, erroneously. So that's the benefit of sending that. So, you know, at that time, because, you know, in the middle of the night, the doctor might have to, and the staff might have to come in from home. So they typically are walking in right side by side with our personnel.
So cool.
That is cool.
Councilwoman Capaldi.
I'm curious, how much do those things weigh? Is it heavy?
So they look heavier than they are. I think they're about 12 pounds.
That's it.
They are much lighter than the older version.
They look humongous.
Yeah, you know, it's for something that gets carried into almost every call, and it's you know it's a you know a $70,000 piece of equipment, and but luckily they're rugged enough to withstand that abuse.
Okay. Yeah, no, I got something good to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Vice
Take the oldest
President.
guy on the council, right? Okay. So I go back when I started in the fire service, became a cardiac technician. We had a Life Pack 5, which most of you got, well, probably except for Chief Shannon, but Chief Katie, probably you, right?
Started with a 5.
Right, John? So we went from a 5 to a 12 to a 15, now to 35. I mean, this technology is so important. They use it on probably 80% of their EMS calls they go on. The town as a whole does over 7,000 runs, and of that number, 80% of those are EMS calls. So this equipment and all being on the same platform and working together is just monumental. It's seamless, and the training that these guys did, I stopped in one day, and you know, a lot goes into this, and this is only one level of what they do. You know, they have ventilators now that came along, and the rescues are using this technology. The level of EMS service in this town is at a very high level, and there's not too many communities right now that can say that they have this equipment. So I congratulate all these guys for what they do every day, and the firefighters that have and EMS people that use these every day, because it does change people's lives and saves lives. So congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And just because it was on the agenda, I just wanted to take a second to nominate, to mention that Council Vice President and former Chief Brown was nominated for the Elwood Johnson Leadership Award for the Rhode Island, for his service to Rhode Island Special Olympics. So unfortunately, he missed the ceremony, but they had some great things to say about the chief and all of the work that he does for the athletes of Special Olympics. I just wanted to say congratulations.
Don't forget those.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Appreciate it. Thank you all for the words. I think that's a big statement right there that we just made. So appreciate that. All right, moving on. We are going to talk weed with Jerry Narkowitz. Oh, weeds.
There was so many ways I could go with that. But
Thanks for
So-
joining us.
before I do this, it's really short. When people come before you that are applying for positions, you should really let them know that there are many other things, like the Conservation Commission, that could use people. And it's not such a bad thing to mention when they're standing before you, especially if they've put some effort into getting elected or getting positioned into it. And I just think it would behoove you to give that a little thought when they're being dismissed.
Good point.
So I'll leave that at that. Tonight, I'm not here as Jerry Narkowitz, the citizen, or Jerry Narkowitz, the president of the Lake Association. I'm here as the Conservation Commission. We've been discussing back and forth some of the items that should be of major concern to all of us, and hopefully to you guys especially. So last year with the ARPA funds, we were able to treat a lot of the lakes or the ponds or the water bodies. And it's always, like, what do you call them? Lake Tioga, Johnson's Pond, upper middle dam pond, lower middle or middle dam pond. There's all these names that people use, but the reality is I'm here to speak about weed treatment. We see it every year. As an association, we fundraise, we look for grants, we get grants, and we can treat some parts of the lake. We've been treating in front of Briar Point. We've been treating in some of the lower things. I speak specifically about Tioga, but every one of those water bodies have some involvement with the town, and I pray Johnson's Pond will have more access for everyone. So I won't feel bad to say we need to use public funds to treat some of these weeds. So over the last few months in the Conservation Commission, we've tried to say, how would we delve that out? How would we share the access? Like last year, it was done, and I think it was done sort of fair, but really probably a lot of thought didn't go into how much each water body could get. We know that weeds, specifically invasive species, grow in water levels that are 6 feet or less because it gets sun infiltration. And it would be really a great way to look at a water body to determine how much of that water body is 6 foot or less. For instance, Tioga has probably 70% that's 6 foot or less. Hence, we get a lot of weed growth. And if you go out in that lake in the later part of the summer, you would see that there was a significant amount of weeds, even with weed treatment. And I'm sure that's true in some of the coves of Johnson's Pond. I know it's true for Upper Dam Pond and Middle Dam Pond. So we played around with trying to disperse those funds if we were to get them. And we came to some ideas. We floated it, and we're still thinking about it. So I'm here tonight asking that a line item be added to this year's budget. And we think $50,000 would be a good number for us to utilize to share among those 4 ponds. And I guess I beg upon you to think very seriously about it. Those lakes get used a lot. I'm hoping Johnson's Pond will get used a real lot. I'd love to put my boat out there. I haven't been able to put my boat out there, and I've lived in town for 40 years. I would love to put my boat out there. So that's all I have for you guys tonight. I just ask that you please consider this. I know finances is always tough. So do you have any questions for me? I've been taking care of the dam on Lake Tioga for a long time. I've been doing Watershed Watch as a volunteer 25, 30 years. So I know a lot about the lake, a lot.
Mr. Narkowitz, I have a question for you.
Sure.
So I lived on Johnson Pond. Oh,
He was first.
oh, I don't, sorry.
Councilman Vasquez.
You'll have to wait.
Mr. Nakwas, thank you for coming before us tonight, and I appreciate it. And I thank you for bringing up this topic. So we have some new members on council, so just a little bit of a history lesson. You touched on it. We did give what was supposed to be a one-time injection of cash for doing weed treatment on, initially it was Johnson's Pond, and then we moved it over to Tyoke Lake and Breezy Lake, which was a great idea, and I fully support it and currently, going forward. So, I've given this a lot of thought, and I think that I would really like the council, and I agree with you, to consider putting a line item in this year to do the same thing. Don't know if we need as much this year on Johnson's Pond, because the idea last year was we hadn't had weed treatment in many years and needed sort of a bolus or a giant push of a weed kill in order to make up for years lost. But, I think what the residents should know is that a lot of people made comments when we did this last year. People were saying, well, residents should pay for it and so on and so forth. So I know that there's a big fundraising effort that happens at Tyoke Lake and Breezy Lake for trying to get residents to put in for weed treatment. Johnson's Pond does the same thing. And so the town gave $35,000 for weed treatment last year. The residents raised on their own $53,000. So the total treatment was $88,000 for Johnson's Pond. 35 of that was public funds. The rest of it was all private funding. So I would ask that this council consider some number that makes sense to treat these weeds and understand that these are now public assets. We are working on public access, and it's sort of an investment. And I think that we should maintain it just like we maintain our roads, because what happens when you don't fix your roads and maintain your roads for years, you end up way behind the 8 ball, and it costs you 10 times more than it should. So I think we spent a lot last year on weed treatment. I don't think we need as much because we did bolus the reservoir with the herbicides that we needed to. But I think we should be cognizant of taking care of Breezy Lake, Tyoke Lake, and Flat River Reservoir again, and just maintaining them. I think it's the right thing to do, and it's going to pay off in the long run for us.
Yeah, I think I said it last year too. They're all, town assets. So I appreciate you bringing this back up again. It's obviously timely with budget coming up.
Funny, I went to Briar Point today. There had to be 20, 30 people there. First of all, you get to see the eagles fly by, which is really cool. And it was just a beautiful day. It was just a beautiful day. And the parking lot's been all repaved and restriped, and it's got handicap parking spots. The bathhouses are open in the summertime, and it's coming along. It's coming along. The gate is locked. Scott's tremendously helpful on that. And, so it's all coming together slower than what everybody would want, of course, but it has a lot of validity. You can see the value coming. And if you go into Briar Point, you'll see that park looks very different than it did a year ago. So
Go ahead, Councilwoman.
So I agree with you on everything you said. And actually, Breezy Lake looks great.
Yeah,
Right, looks
yeah. Tom
amazing.
Pendergast
I'm
and
so
all
proud of that
he is a
kids
tremendous
fishing. He's
advocate for it.
that guy. I love that man. He's doing such a good job for the town, the kids,
job.
everything. And Briar Point looks. Breezy looks
And he
amazing.
sits on the Conservation Commission with me.
Yeah, I love him. He's a good guy. Good guy.
Very good guy. He would
So-
love to be here today. He's speaking or appearing before the Senate, I guess.
Good.
So, did you
So
have another
I had a
question?
quick question because I am in agreement with you. But from living on the pond before, we used to put around like Hilltop Camp Road signs that we were doing weed.
Yep. Right.
So now that we're going to be open to the public, how do we get that out to the town if they're going to go to the beach?
That wouldn't change. We
Can
did a
have-
code red in the past and stuff like that.
Does nothing.
Yeah,
So we
that
don't
won't change.
promote it, or just a sign right at the beach or the launch.
The weed abatement company just requires signage in the area of the treatments because it's not something that like spreads all over the groundwater or anything like that.
It's
We've used in the
They
code
wasn't
red in the
like they did
past, but
before. Okay.
it's the
don't
law.
need to. Yeah.
The state
No,
of Rhode
I
Island
understood, but
requires,
my dog has gone out because I didn't get out of my house and I didn't go on the pole and my dog is got in the water. So I was just asking, as town,
it's.
the whole
it's a
town who
fair
hasn't-
Question. It's always a good question to ask that. And I believe that when they do treatment, they ask people not to, it's not so much not to swim, but to be cautious for 24 hours. And I forget the exact number, but it's a law and there's signs out about what they're doing. So it's a very safe procedure at this point.
yeah, I'm sure they probably changed the chemicals along the way too. I was just more curious as how people off the pond would find out when they go down to the beach
Mhm.
and they take their dog, or that was it.
This signs up
Okay,
and with dates.
okay, thank you.
Councilman Hool.
Couple of things. I know Tom very well. I know the Rainies very well. I live right there on the corner of Puritan and River. I can see Breezy Lake. Some of my concern is when we start funding these private organizations, what it does is it stops your fundraising efforts. And I don't ever want associations to get to a point where the town is now 100% liable. Like Tom and the Upper Dam Pond Association, they do a fantastic job. They just had a bingo on Saturday. They do craft, like they are very involved in their fundraising efforts. But more importantly, I feel like we might be throwing some money away when it comes to Johnson's Pond, because if, now correct me, you guys have lived there, weeds can possibly be created by power boats, correct? The turning up. It doesn't change the settlement. It doesn't.
Fragments can cause weeds to grow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So by cutting, it does what? It repots itself and it,
It can, right.
but it's
That's how they spread leak to lake.
correct. So what I'm saying is unless we solve that problem, we're throwing money away to get in the boat to just fragment it up again. Stop the fragmentation. You might not need $50,000.
So that's not a problem specific to Flower Reservoir. If you're talking about that specifically, that action is taken up on Tyoke Lake and Breezy Lake, all of which can have
Breezy Lake doesn't
motor.
allow power boats.
You can have any motor. A trolling motor will chop up the weeds and move it, an electric trolling motor. So, they've also realized that runoff and phosphorus is a major,
Which Tom's done
right.
a really good job at catching.
But as far as, I don't think that there's a singled out issue as far as Flower Reservoir when it comes to throwing money away for weeds. I think that, matter of fact, that's the one that's probably a really big concern, because if that gets out of control, it's going to be way more expensive to fix that because it's way larger than any other reservoir. But ultimately, the other thing that, and this is why I brought this up a little while ago, there is no cessation of funding efforts for weed abatement that happens because the town kicks in money. That $35,000 last year was used in the more public areas that didn't border people's houses. That private codes, but the codes with houses, those are the ones that kicked in a lot of the money. They raised $53,000 of private funding, and that supplemented additional on top of $35,000 on Flower Reservoir. So there's no indication whatsoever that it slowed down or would stop. You could tomorrow put $35,000 or $50,000 of town money on Flower Reservoir. Ain't gonna be enough if the people don't put money together. They're still gonna fundraise. They're still gonna do their thing. And actually, I was just talking to President Lamoy about this a few days ago. All the people that put in money last year to raise that $53,000 have all committed and more this year. So if the town comes in and says, hey, we'll put in 20,000, we're really getting a good handle on that and keeping it at bay. We're not getting rid of the problem, and we're just maintaining it. But good points, Councilman.
And I only singled out Flat River because Breezy Lake doesn't allow power boats. So to my understanding, Johnson's Pond did. So that's why I singled it out.
Gotcha.
Yeah, birds bring in weeds. Birds drop, that they help with the weeds.
I'm sure we all can agree that a bird is not going to bring in as many weeds as a boat would.
It brings in a lot of invasive species. I don't know if it's going to be just as much as.
This is,
Well, sounds like we got volunteers for the Conservation Commission up here.
Councilman, if I
I-
may, one more point.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Councilman, this has been a longstanding problem with if you look at water and wetlands and the conservation for statewide conservation of lakes and rivers and stuff, weed abatement and weed control has been literally a #1 topic for years. In Maine, they have buildings where they wash off your boats, they inspect you, they put a sticker on your boat. So, we're talking about this issue. You have to understand, like, the only real thing that we can do immediately is weed abatement. To try and mitigate this problem on a permanent basis overall is almost next to impossible. It's just literally a cancer in the lakes that we're just trying to keep at bay. We're not going to get rid of the problem.
Question for you. Is the milk can still standing?
I believe Tom had told me that there was some vandalism
Hey,
going on with the can, but it's still, as far as I know,
Okay.
it's still floating.
still floating, I should have said.
So
okay.
why, do you have a date?
I have a couple. I'm not going to release them publicly.
You're not going to release the date that.
And then, just for us to consider up here, just hearing some of the comments, I don't know if it makes sense to maybe consider a matching provision, maybe, use town funds, whatever. But if we want to consider this, to your point, in the budget, it might be nice to either get a funding mechanism more tied down, maybe a more scientific approach to, how we dole it out. I think last time we kind of used acreage or, so, it's something to consider. Since you brought it up, I think it's important that, I look at it as an asset too. We have to treat our roads a certain way where, we can't just do a bunch of roads in, Councilman Hull's neighborhood because he's, complaining about it.
I think you have to be careful.
I have
with,
more potholes than anywhere.
I think you have to be careful when you say we'll tie it in with fundraising. If you have a group like Johnson's Pond who's raising $53,000, and you say you're going to match to that, and you get
That's hard.
a thing like Breezy Lake, and they only raise 1,000 because you look at the number of people who live on it. So it might be a very unfair mechanism.
We don't have Johnson's Pond money.
You don't have Johnson's Pond money. Matter of fact, only Johnson's
I
Pond
live
has
there. I can
Johnson's
say
Pond money.
it.
Well, things for us to consider, but I'm glad you brought it up. Last year, obviously, I don't know if we mentioned we had the APRA money. So, this year that's going away. I don't think we have anything left in that bucket. So, but, maybe that was just a precursor to getting this funded
Exactly.
annually. So
Maybe it gave us the opportunity to consider this as
Right.
very important.
Yep.
Yes.
go ahead, Councilman.
Could we potentially, I do think we have to do something. I hear from Upper Dam Association, they're on me, Lori, Tom, they're all on me.
Tom's yelled at.
Not yet, I didn't call him back.
I'll let him know you're going to call
Can
him.
we maybe move this to Finance Committee to further study what this should be? Like,
This is what I was saying earlier. As these things come up, absolutely, we'll get a list going. So, yeah,
I would make a motion to push this to the Finance Committee
absolutely.
for further study. We gotta start somewhere.
Just one last point before you remember that we need to do this by April or May. No. You're killing me.
No, actually, the permit for the weed abatement is due when?
Yeah.
When do you have to file that? Is it like, it's like 2 weeks?
Yeah,
Isn't it
it's
something
soon.
like that? It's very
But the
soon.
treatment is.
No, I know that, but I think especially for Flyover Reservoir, we need a clear understanding what the scope is going to be on this because we have to file that permit with DEM. We can't treat more than what we file for. We can only treat less. We can't treat more.
Exactly. So you'd have them file for a
So
bigger portion.
We got like 2 weeks, I think. Mark, what is it? About 2 weeks? So about 2 weeks to figure this out.
How much money have you guys raised?
Every year we raise about 9 or 10,000.
So do you have about 9, 10,000 now?
I think so.
Okay.
To be perfectly honest, that's my wife's thing. And she's probably listening saying, that's right. I do that. You don't touch it. She's right. I don't.
I think the
So-
budget gets passed May 17th ballpark. So we won't have access to that money until then, unless you guys want to let us, I don't know, but that's when the budget gets passed approximately, just so you know.
I believe they can submit their permit for the areas they want to do. And if they don't get enough money
That's
to
right.
do it, they don't have to do it.
That's
So
how
they
we've
can
done
put the
it.
permit in ahead of time saying they want to
Without-
treat 20 acres, and if they only got.
Without the
money for
funding,
10,
okay,
they're
okay,
The
very good.
permit doesn't cost more to do the permit for
Correct.
a whole section, even though you don't have the money to do that.
Yeah, correct.
So wouldn't that be in next year's budget though? We're talking about doing it now.
I wasn't sure if you needed the money to submit the permit, that's all.
Oh,
So
Well,
you submit the permit now, well, in the next 2 weeks. The treatment is until like the beginning of June. Is that correct? Middle to end of June.
If
So I would
funding's
imagine we
available.
could probably get invoiced for that and pay it just around or just after this treatment. I would imagine, as long as we have the funds committed, I would.
Yeah, the funding will be there July 1st.
I would think that would be fine with the treatment company. They're really good to deal with.
Thank you. Every year with this now, the second year in a row, this has been a robust conversation. Councilman Hool.
No, I'm sorry. Hey, look at her. Is opera funds wouldn't work for this, impact fees wouldn't work for this, nothing short term. We got money tied up with opera, the RDA. It doesn't seem
Yeah.
that they're using.
The federal opera funds are accounted for.
Are they though?
They are, yes.
Isn't RDA sitting on $450,000 that they haven't?
They are, but weed abatement is not one of the 20 designated MOUs that we have with the town.
And impact fees don't cover this?
I don't believe so, but I can double check.
Maybe under recreation. Yeah. Okay. All right. Once again, you never know what's gonna get us going up here. So good conversation. Thanks for
Much fun.
thanks for bringing it up.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate you. Talking weed with Jerry. We'll see you next time.
Introduced me as the weed guy. You know, I was a school teacher. It's not a good.
Thank you very much. On to item 7. We have a resolution. Did I see our town engineer here? Please come on up.
Good evening, Joe Levesque, Town Engineer. I have a resolution in front of you for a sewer extension for a new proposed 75-unit development off of New London Turnpike. The new sewer extension would tie into the existing 15-inch gravity main on New London Turnpike. The name of the development is New London Preserve.
Go ahead, Councilman Pasqua.
Make a motion to approve resolution 2026-16, improving the New London Preserve Sewer Extension.
I'll second that.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All right, seeing none. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Motion carries.
Thank you.
What's that? Oh,
Sorry. Oh,
yeah. Good.
I'm
Yeah.
out of here.
Yeah. Yeah. Take one of these with you. All right, we've got 2026-17 resolution in support of municipalities collaborating on this one.
Council, I think maybe these should go to the finance committee because they're gonna need financial support. That's as opposed to just continuing, and then unless the council wants to have that discussion with, I believe Portsmouth was one of the issues.
So just for everyone's knowledge, we need a fiscal note attached to these. We don't have them yet. So good suggestion on finance committee. We also have a kind of policy discussion on where we want to take these issues as a whole, with the state, contacting our local delegation. So these came on here tonight as a good start to starting that framework of where we're going next with it. I see a hand, Councilman Hool.
Thank you, sir. I wouldn't, I'm going to make a motion. I would like to make a motion to table resolution 2026-17 until we can have the discussion. I don't want to put it to the finance committee until we can have the, what's his name? until we bring in Mr. Larry from, I don't know his last name, but until we can have more discussion. So I don't think it's ready for the Finance Committee. I would make a motion to table Resolution 2026-17, resolution of the Coventry Town Council in support of the
I'll second it.
Motion and a second. Discussion. All right, hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Next, we're in a similar situation with Resolution 26-18. Again, good start on where we're heading with this. We've kind of got something to look at here, but again, same issue as far as need a fiscal note and perhaps a little more thought into the policy side. So that's where we're at right now. Oh, Councilman Hool.
I would like to make a motion to also table Resolution 2026-18, establishing council oversight and policy direction during the comprehensive plan. I just think we need some, we have some more information that we have to gather.
Yeah, I'll second that.
Yeah. I have a motion and a second. While we're at it, any discussion? All right, seeing none, all those in favor of tabling?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. We are tabled on that item.
Can just, when it comes to tabling, what brings that back up?
You'd have to put it,
We have to suggest
you'd
it.
have to
So
suggest they come back on the agenda. So as soon as.
Councilwoman Ionati will work on the schedule and, okay.
We could do administratively.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just notify the administrative and the clerk's office that it's going to come back up off the table on such and such a date once you're ready for it.
Yeah, I think now would be a good time for us to reach out to our delegation as well. And that brings us to last item, public comment for undocketed items. Anyone in the room who'd like to speak on undocketed items, please come up, state your name and address for the record.
Mark Lamoy, 34 Island Drive. I'm the president of the Johnson's Pond Civic Association. So what I would like to do is reinforce what Jerry Narkowitz said, is that we really need weed treatment for a number of different reasons. So I started weed treatment on Johnson's Pond, I think back in 2011. We've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars privately. We've gotten a few state grants for a small amount, and but pretty much has predominantly been a little bit of DEM money, but mostly private donations. We've hired lake limnologists, which are lake scientists. We have extensive reports on what. So, Councilman Hool, you asked, about fragmentation and are we just wasting our money? I have reports upon reports from scientists and the lake treatment companies that we hire each year, that I hire to perform the weed treatment and abatement and to do the studies. They do a report at the beginning of the year. At treatment time, they do a report for us at the end of the year, so we know we're getting our money's worth. They go out and do an observation report because we also want to know that we're not throwing our money away, that it is actually doing something. So fragmentation is a large problem with spreading of weeds, but it's like, the town owns a little league field. You got to cut the grass every week. And unfortunately, the invasive weeds, they grow back. They don't stop growing. And if you don't do it every year. So we saw the results of this during the not last year, but the previous 3 years when we were not allowed legally to perform treatment. And what happens is the lake gets so choked with weeds that it depletes it's called dissolved oxygen in the water. When you lose the dissolved oxygen, it affects fish, turtles, wildlife, everything else, never mind public recreation. It's really detrimental to the ecosystem and the environment as well. So I have, if anybody's ever interested, I have reports like you wouldn't believe from the different lake scientists and treatment companies that we work with that explain the reason and the need for treatment each and every year. We do follow and have followed what's called lake drawdown too in the winter, which can help. Doesn't cure it, doesn't make it go away, but it helps with the weed treatment problem. Whereas if you can expose the shoreline, which Jerry was correct, weeds only grow in 6 feet. So we expose the shoreline in the winter, it gets frozen, and if you the conditions are just right, you can freeze the roots of the weeds better, and it does help. Doesn't make the problem go away. We follow, so again, we follow everything that, we're not the professionals, we hire the professionals, and we go by what they suggest. And we also go by what they suggest for areas of treatment. Councilman Pascu mentioned that our philosophy has always been anything we get state grant wise, and then last year's money that the town gave us goes into what we refer to as the common areas, that are more community, public-based areas, larger areas of the pond. Again, we don't treat in the middle, we treat along the shoreline because of the depth. There's no weeds in the middle, they're only on the edges. The 53,000 that we raised last year, and we're going to do even more this year. I've got commitments and I've already lined up. And as you said, I'm applying for a permit for pretty much what we did last year, which was included the town's 35,000. DEM could care less if I do less than that, but they will not allow anything more than that. So we're still going full speed ahead, and I understand your concerns that people may not want to give, but we see it more as like I'm going to relate it to like an adopt a spot where you see on the highway or in town there's an island on the roads where community members come forward. Well, the Civic Association wants to adopt a spot being Johnson's Pond. Now, do we have the money and the means to do the entire pond? No. So we look for help. We apply for grants. We work extensively with an organization called Save the Lakes. Save the Lakes is a statewide organization, which you mentioned Tom Pendergast. He and I work, Tom is on that board, and he works a lot, but we go to all the meetings. We donate to the Save the Lakes Association. Their main focus and goal is to get the Rhode Island legislature to commit to and to support more funding for invasive weed treatment throughout, and not only weed treatment, but education and possible, community boat ramps where they do what Maine and New Hampshire and Vermont do, which is boat washing, boat inspection to make sure that these weeds aren't transferred from lake to lake to lake. Right on Lake Mishnock, they've got a real bad invasive that popped up like 3 years ago. I forget the name of it, but we don't have it. And education and funding, they're also, I think they've taken it upon themselves to treat over there. But we're constantly working on these goals, because if we didn't keep this under control, it would be, I can't give you an exact percentage, but I bet you 30 to 40% of Johnson's Pond would be unusable by August. It just gets so choked out. I live in a cove, a shallow cove, that I've experienced. I've lived there since 1977, and I've experienced what happens when you don't treat. So again, I think it's very worthwhile. It's good for the environment. It's good for the community, and it's going to be good for, I'm going to say, all residents, because we, the Civic Association, and I'm going to state this tomorrow night, is all for public access and more public use of the pond, and we want to keep it pristine. Thank you. Any questions?
We can on
okay.
unadopted, but
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Scott Guthrie, 31 Maplewood Drive. Interesting topic on weed control. I would suggest that the Finance Committee also take a look at the other public beaches. I'm not sure if the town is involved in, which would be Carbuncle Pond and Quidnick Reservoir, because they're used by the public. I'm not sure if we're just going to deal with town-owned ponds, or who owns Carbuncle Pond, who owns Quidnick Reservoir, who owns Stump Pond, who owns the Little Mill Pond that all dumps into Johnson's Pond. So most of those ponds up there, they have no operating motors that can stir anything up. But still, if you're going to, take into consideration weed control, make sure you take into consideration those public beaches. Carbuncle Pond, I believe, is a state-owned. I'm not so sure about Whitnick Reservoir. I know Camp Westwood operates out of there, so I'm not sure if that's private or not, but they should keep that in mind. The other reason I'm here is a couple of weeks ago, I missed the last meeting. The meeting before that, I got up and I spoke, and I had the same sentiments as Councilman Hool about legal counsel for the RDA. And I brought up information where I thought that he was contracting out. And Councilman Hool brought up the fact that on an email, he said that, as you know, the RDA is contracted with my firm. So yesterday, I went online to look up, what do you do to report fraud when it comes to APRA money? So if the town council is not going to go after this guy for carving things out. So this is the way that I look at what Mr. Hool said. You send a bill to me, you work for me, and I'll carve what I want out of it. That is stealing money from the federal government. So I looked up the definition of fraud under that APRA reporting fraud against APRA. And it says APRA has adopted the definition of fraud provided in the Commonwealth Fraud Control Policy, which is defined as dishonestly obtaining a benefit or causing a loss by deception or other means. Fraud against the Commonwealth may include, but is not limited to, theft, abuse of entitlements, including expenses, leave, travel allowances, or attendance records, misuse of corporate credit cards or information technology, mobile devices, and telecommunication systems, accounting fraud, false invoices, misappropriation, unuseful use of or unlawful obtaining of property, equipment, material, or services, causing a loss or avoiding and or creating a liability, providing false or misleading information to the Commonwealth, or failing to provide information when there is an obligation to do so. Misuse of Commonwealth assets, equipment, or facilities, making or using false, forged, or falsified documents and or wrongfully using Commonwealth information or intellectual property. Now, I brought up that he took property out of this building, and I proved that he broke a Rhode Island law. And 3 days later, he resigned because I called him out on it. I believe that he is using the RDA as an income source, creating a job for himself. Now, I don't want to see our town hurt by this, the taxpayers, and I don't want to be responsible for this. And if the town does not go after him for this, I will personally do it myself. I looked up, the, what do they call it, whistleblower. I don't care. I'll be the whistleblower. The guy is stealing money from the taxpayers of Coventry and the federal government. So all it's going to take is one phone call. And the Office of Special Counsel is waiting for the phone call. So I hope and pray that Mr. Angel is listening right now, because I will be making that call. And if you were wise, you would step away from the position that you're in. You've done enough to destroy this town where the council had to get rid of you, but managed to weasel yourself into another position where you can continue to steal money from the people that I live with in my community. and it's time for it to end, and I'm going to make sure it does. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else in chambers? Excuse me. All right, not seeing any hands, so let's bounce over to Zoom. I think I see a hand. Please, oh, hello. Please come in, unmute yourself. Welcome. Name and address for the record. I think I know who this is. There we go. I think you're still muted. I can see the. There it is.
Good evening, Town Council. This is Lori
Hey.
Jean Smith, 14 Pondview Drive, Coventry, Rhode Island. I see Town Council Q laughing. I am a director of Upper Dam Pond Conservation Association / Breezy Lake. I just wanted to say a few things. First of all, President Verducci, yes, the milk can is still standing. Secondly, Upper Dam Pond Conservation is privileged to have Tom on our council, and you guys should, all of you should be very privileged to have him on any council that you can get him on. He is actually at the State House this evening trying to get the state to give lake associations money, which would help all of us, you and us as an association, so that we're not all scrambling constantly to try to raise money. As far as the comment about where, the association will no longer raise funds if the town gives us money, I just want you to know that last year you gave us money, and the money that we had allotted to spend on the lake, we still spent, but in another way. We put new sand on the beach. We have had the school build us picnic tables and benches for the point that we paid the school for, and on and on and on and on and on. We spend money every single year to the tune of about $20,000 to keep this beautiful place for everyone in the future. It's not for us. It is for our future generations. We work with scout troops, we work with the schools, and now we're even working with a swim team to use the lake. So whatever we can do, we do. Thirdly, the water and wetlands contract for our association is signed already, and we are on a payment plan with them, which is what they do always. So they are applying for whatever they need to apply for. No, whether you guys give us money or not, we have that money allotted to pay them. We've actually upped it this year. We're going to do a little bit more because we raised a good amount of money last year. And water and wetlands, instead of starting in June or July, we're going to have them come in early May because we had a lot of blossoms last year. Fourthly, phosphorus is a huge, huge indicator for all the lakes. I don't know how many of you know, but we also work with DEM and other organizations to try to stop the phosphorus coming into our lake. We actually helped the town get a grant for $80,000, and they are supposed to be working on drains into Pondview Drive to stop the phosphorus coming in, and hopefully that will be done this year. And lastly, the association cares about the public land. That is the most important part. And I really hope that Johnson's Pond can get public land there like we have at our lake. I am constantly putting on Facebook. I sent out 35 postcards last week to neighboring neighborhoods to let them know where the public land is so that anyone can come and use these great assets that the town has. And lastly and finally, I want to just thank all of you because you are doing a great job, and not just for public land, not just for the lakes, but for the town itself. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comments, Councilman Pasqua.
Just want to point out something important, what you said when they, and thank them as well, because if they put sand on the beach, we own the beach, it's our beach, so they gave that back to the town.
Absolutely.
That's,
Yeah.
you know, so they took that money and they gave it right back to us and they improved land and area that
Yeah.
we actually own. So kudos to them.
Oh, and all the leveraging with the different sports teams and groups, and very great story. Great story. Councilman Hool?
Thank you, Lori. That association, I live right there, so I see what they do from the Boy Scouts dropping down mulch to the public path that goes along. That beach is clean. So thank you, Lori. Thanks, Tom. Thanks to, like Mr. Lamore, you see what they do. I see what Lori does. So you guys are all working unpaid for, and dealing with us. So thank you. Thank you all for what you do. Thank you, Lori. I'm sure.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Who would want to spend so much time doing something for so little money? It's crazy. As we hit the 8:30 mark. Any more hands? I think I see one. Hello, please come on in, unmute yourself, and state your name and address for the record, please.
Yeah, Steve Riley, 5 Osprey Drive in Coventry. Was just wondering if anyone on the council or the town manager could update us on the status of the spillway at Johnson's Pond. The water's come up several feet, and just curious how it overwintered. There's apparently, judging from the water level outside my house, there's several inches going over the spillway right now. If you look down in Washington Village, there's several inches going over that dam. And I'm just curious how, if anyone's checked on how it's overwintered.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't think we can actually respond in the on this venue on the undocketed.
Good point.
But
Administrator
yeah.
can find out if, how that's happening.
Yeah, we can. Okay, yeah, we'll get back to you on that one. We'll take a note of that. But yeah, thanks for the comment. We just can't do it back and forth, but maybe we'll see you tomorrow.
Maybe someone could offer that information tomorrow evening.
Yeah.
At the RDA meeting.
Yeah, I know there'll be a few of us there, so we will attempt to do that tomorrow. It's
Thank
already
you.
almost tomorrow. All right. Anyone else? All right. See you. No hands there. No hands on Zoom. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I make